In this screencast, I'm going to show you my take on teaching, I should say, in a block schedule and trying to incorporate the 4 C's of 21st century learning. You'll notice that I set my courses up in daily folders so that if a student is missing a class, for example, they can just go right to the folder that they missed. And I also make it a habit of writing in my folder what's inside the folder here. Now there's another way of doing that. That takes a little bit of time, but you can just see it at a quick glance. But a student can also just go up to, let's just say, like right here on the side, this little arrow, press on the arrow and it exposes everything that's inside that particular day as well. Okay, so this is just one way of, like I said, using Schoology to take advantage of the block schedule. Now, let me show you a typical day. I'm just going to, since I'm on April 11th, let's just stay on April 11th. When I click on it and open up the folder, you'll see the different assignments and projects and collaborations and lectures that the students will have to go through that day. Now, one thing that I'm pretty clear about is I set up what I call my categories. If you notice in the there'll be a video that you've watched, hopefully, on how to set up your grade book and categories there. I try to match these particular categories to what might be in the grade book. So if I want to give any of these points for assignments, for example, I can do that. It just transfers over directly. But here's a typical day. So I always start every class with a warm-up quiz. Usually somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. And the warm-up quiz is what I call low-stakes assessment. They're just a series of questions. I'll just go ahead and click on this. In my case, these are multiple choice questions, as you can see what's going on here, that you can create in Schoology and then bank them for yourself. Or you can just create them as you're going through the material. And they're very low stakes. I tell and they're mostly homework from what they had to read during their homework. And I tell my students that they can use notes from whatever assignment that they had to do during the previous day or maybe the previous evening. So it encourages them to be reflective in what they're doing. I usually tell them what the important points are. So these warm-up quizzes really, I said, are really got 5 points for each one of them. They should all do very well on these, especially if they're using their notes. Okay, so that just gets the day primed up a little bit. You notice these other different categories I have here. Quiz review, for example. So with the quiz review, I just told them that I lectured to see if they had any questions on this particular 10.1 through 10.3. And then I can do that as a large group. Whenever I have something called Ferrante Math, it is a video that I have my own video channel, and you'll notice how it's set up here. So you create the assignment, watch the video on your own. Here's an example, and here are things I want them to look for in the video. Okay, then I just go ahead and embed the video there. They watch it. They're usually sitting by themselves or maybe in groups at this point and taking notes. So a lot of this is like individual work during the class. And again, this probably takes anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. This particular day I had 2 Ferrante Math videos. And again, you'll see that it's very similarly set up to the other ones. I always ask them to find the important point in here, and I usually scaffold that for them. Okay, so there's a little bit of, like I mentioned, individual work in here. Now, I haven't thrown out the idea of lecture. I don't like to lecture, though, longer than, gosh, anything more than 5 minutes. I call them hit and run lectures. Now, in this particular case, it was an in-class. They watched the 2 videos, and I wanted them to do these 8 problems just to see what they could do, and I gave them points. You know, they actually worked out problems. They could work out with one another. Then they had to submit their answers in the submission box, right? The very cool thing about this is, let me show you real quickly. You can grade them right then and there if they pretty much did what they were supposed to do. I gave them a rubric. You need to get 7 out of the 8 problems correct to receive maximum points. That's not really a rubric, it's just directions. And you can see that most of them really did quite well. And again, they could use one another for help here. The nice thing about Schoology and our Power School gradebook is that I can go right over to Power School, click on this, and I'll have another video, but it automatically will populate the gradebook with all the points that they got in this particular assignment. And again, it's very quick, it's easy, and it keeps your gradebook current. Going back one more time, let me show you what else I did in class. The other thing I like to do is what I call ongoing projects. So I have weekly projects, and it's usually some kind of a video creation. They have to create some kind of a video explaining a concept, something new that they've learned. I usually give it to them. I've made them optional. I've made them mandatory. I usually give them till the end of the week. You'll notice here I says due April 13th at midnight. So they have really the weekend and really all week to do this project. I also have what I call semester or quarter-long projects. So when they're finished with all of these individual things during the day, for example, they can start working on long-range projects, either a semester project or a weekly project. So there's always something to do in the class. And again, it's a combination of low stakes assessing, it's a combination of lecture, it's a combination of individual work, it's a combination of collaboration, comparing notes between them, and then ongoing student creation. You'll notice that those try to incorporate all the 4 C's. Critical thinking, which was up in here, it would be up here, I should say. Creative thinking, which is what the video projects are trying to entail. Collaboration, where they work with one another to arrive at answers or solutions. And then communication, again, this is for the video project, where they actually present something that they've done. Okay, I hope that was helpful. I would say keep in mind all these 4 C's when you're creating your own. You'll notice somewhat of a free-flowing type of class, but it seems the students did really well with it last year.